Look, I am about to tell you something that sounds completely backwards. Something that will make you think I have lost my mind. But stick with me, because what I am about to reveal is why she is thinking about that guy at 2 in the morning and not you. And by the end of this, you will discover the one thing he did that you are probably too afraid to try. Most guys think they need to be constantly on her mind through texting, calling, or showing up everywhere she is. They think if they just stay visible enough, she will eventually fall for them. But here is what actually happens. She starts seeing you as predictable, safe, forgettable. And the worst part is that you become the guy she texts when she is bored, not the guy she stays up thinking about. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once observed that nothing is as destructive to inner peace as depending on what is not within our control. And when you depend on her attention to feel valuable, you have handed her the keys to your emotional stability. That dependency is what makes you predictable. And predictability, as we will discover, is the death of attraction. Now, I am about to show you something that sounds cruel, something that might make you uncomfortable, but I promise you, by the time you reach the end of this, you will understand why this seemingly cruel tactic is actually the most honest thing you can do. It taps into a psychological trigger so powerful that she will not even realize why she cannot stop thinking about you. And here is the crazy part. The less you do, the more she will obsess. I know that sounds impossible, but stay with me. By the end of this, you will understand exactly what makes a woman lose sleep over a man and how to become that man without playing games or being someone you are not. Because once you master this, you will not just be another guy in her phone. You will be the one she cannot get out of her head. This is not theory. This is psychology. And it works even when logic says it should not. But first, I need to show you the biggest mistake you are making. The one that is actually training her brain to forget about you. The mistake that is killing your chances and why it feels so right. Here is the scene. You meet a woman you really like. The chemistry feels real. So you do what feels natural. You text her good morning. You check in during the day. You make sure she knows you are interested. You are being consistent, right? You are showing effort. But then something strange happens. Her responses get shorter. Her energy drops. The spark you felt is fading, and you cannot figure out why. Now, here is where it gets dark, and this is the part most dating coaches will not tell you. Every time you text her first, you are actually teaching her brain that you are not valuable. I know that sounds harsh, but hear me out. Here is what is really happening. You are giving her emotional closure before she has even invested. Think about the last show you binged on Netflix. Why did you stay up until 3 in the morning watching episode after episode? Because each episode left you hanging. The uncertainty kept you hooked. But what happens when you finish the series? You move on. You forget about it. There is no more tension. That is exactly what you are doing with your attention. You are giving her the entire season at once. No cliffhangers, no mystery, no reason to wonder about you. The philosopher Epictetus taught that we should not seek to have events happen as we wish, but to wish them to happen as they do happen. When you constantly seek her validation, you are fighting against nature. You are trying to control something that was never yours to control. And that fight is what makes you predictable. Women are attracted to emotional momentum, not emotional satisfaction. When you are always available, always responsive, always predictable, you kill the momentum. You remove the very thing that makes her brain light up with curiosity. She is not thinking about you at night because she already knows exactly where you stand. She has got you figured out. And the human brain loses interest in puzzles it has already solved. But here is what you are really wondering. Is he seriously suggesting I ignore her? That cannot work. Just wait. Because what I am about to show you is not ignoring her. It is something far more powerful. And it is the exact technique that keeps you in her thoughts at 2 in the morning, even when she is with other people. So if constant availability kills attraction, what creates the kind of tension that keeps you in her thoughts? That is where the real game begins. The one thing that makes her brain obsess. Here is the move that changes everything. And I am warning you, your first reaction will be, that is too risky. But I am going to prove to you why it is not. Create emotional gaps. Not games, not manipulation. Strategic absence that makes your presence more powerful. But here is the twist nobody talks about. And this is crucial. So pay attention. The gap has to hurt you, too. If you are sitting at home, staring at your phone, waiting for her to text, you have already lost. This only works if you are genuinely busy building something bigger than her attention. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. When you are genuinely engaged in your own life, when you are building something meaningful, when you are pursuing your own purpose, you naturally become less available. And that natural scarcity is what makes you attractive. It is not a tactic. It is a byproduct of a life well lived. Here is how this works. Stop being the first one to text. When you do text, make your messages count. Say something that sparks emotion, curiosity, or laughter. Then exit the conversation while it is still good. Do not drag it out until it dies. Leave her wanting more. Think of it like a great song. It does not overstay its welcome. It ends while you still want to hit replay. Now, here is where most guys mess this up. And if you get this wrong, you will push her away forever. Become unpredictable in the best way. She texts you at 9 in the evening. Do not respond until the next afternoon. Not because you are playing hard to get, but because you genuinely had something better to do. She suggests hanging out. Sometimes you are free, sometimes you are not. And when you are not, you are doing something interesting. The philosopher Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, taught that the goal of life is to live in agreement with nature. And it is human nature to be drawn to what is mysterious, what is challenging, what cannot be fully grasped. When you are genuinely engaged in your own life, you become a mystery she wants to solve. But here is the secret ingredient nobody mentions, and without this, everything I just told you is useless. When you are with her, you need to be 100% present. No phone, no distractions, pure presence. Because here is what happens in her mind when you combine absence with intense presence. She starts filling in the gaps. Who is he with? What is he doing? Why is he not as available as other guys? That curiosity is the seed that grows into obsession. The philosopher Seneca wrote that the greatest cure for the mind is trust in the one who is advising. When you are fully present with her, you are not just advising her with words. You are advising her with your attention. You are telling her, without saying a word, that she matters. And that feeling is what makes her want to stay. Now I am going to tell you something that sounds completely insane. You need to occasionally disagree with her. Wait, what? Is not that relationship suicide? No, and I will tell you exactly why. This sounds crazy, but it works. Most guys are one-dimensional. They are always nice, always agreeable, always supportive. They think that is what women want. But here is the truth nobody tells you. Comfort does not create chemistry. Agreement does not create attraction. You need to be the guy who challenges her, who disagrees with her sometimes, who does not laugh at jokes that are not funny just to be polite. Now, before you think I am telling you to be a jerk, let me clarify. There is a difference between challenging her thoughts and disrespecting her. When she says something and you genuinely disagree, say so. But do it with curiosity, not criticism. Interesting take. I see it completely differently, though. This does something powerful. It shows you have a backbone. You have opinions. You are not a yes man desperate for approval. And here is what happens in her brain. She starts thinking about you more because you are the only guy who treats her like an equal, not a princess. Be warm but not a pushover. Be interested but not desperate. Be present but not clingy. When you show range, when you show depth, you become fascinating. And fascination is what keeps someone up at night. But now comes the most powerful technique. And I am warning you, this one is borderline manipulative if you use it wrong. So use it responsibly. Here is another weapon that most men never discover. Shared secrets and unique experiences. Take her somewhere she has never been. Show her something she has never seen. Have conversations that go deeper than surface level. When you create memories that only exist between the two of you, you become impossible to replace. She might forget the guy who took her to dinner, but she will never forget the guy who took her stargazing at 2 in the morning and talked about dreams and fears. But here is where it gets really powerful. And this is what I call the future ghost technique. You plant yourself in her future without committing to specific plans. We should check out that new place when it opens. You would love this hiking trail. I know. We will go when the weather is perfect. There is this book you need to read. I will lend it to you next time. Notice something. You are creating future scenarios, but they are vague. They are possibilities, not promises. This plants you in her future without pressure, and her brain will keep returning to those possibilities when she is alone. She will be lying in bed thinking, when is he going to take me to that place? Did he forget? Should I bring it up? And just like that, you are in her head at 2 in the morning. The philosopher Epictetus taught that no great thing is created suddenly. The kind of presence that makes a woman think about you at 2 in the morning is no exception. It is built through the accumulation of moments, each one building on the last. Each time you create a meaningful memory rather than a forgettable interaction, you build that presence. And as you build it, it becomes part of who you are. But here is the critical part, and if you miss this, the whole thing backfires. You cannot do this with every conversation. It has to be rare, special, unexpected. Now, here is the timeline that most guys get completely wrong, and getting this wrong will ruin everything. When you pull back strategically, give it time. Real time. Not 2 days, not a week. Give her 2 to 4 weeks to actually feel your absence. Wait, 2 to 4 weeks? Are you insane? She will forget about me. That is what you are thinking right now, is not it? But here is the truth. If she forgets about you in 2 weeks, she was never interested to begin with, and you need to accept that. But if there was real chemistry, if you created real memories, she will not forget. She will wonder during that time. Level up. Hit the gym harder. Learn something new. Expand your social circle. Post moments that show growth. And here is the psychological trick that makes this work. When you come back into her world, you are not the same guy who left. You are better, more centered, more attractive. She sees your transformation and thinks, did I miss my chance with him? And that transformation is what makes her realize what she almost lost. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When your thoughts are colored by growth, by purpose, by the quiet knowledge that you are becoming something more, your soul reflects that, and others will feel it. They will sense that you are someone who is not standing still, and that sense of motion is deeply attractive. But here is what you are probably wondering. What if I do all this and she still does not care? Then you have your answer, and you saved yourself months, maybe years of chasing someone who was never going to choose you. This is not about making her chase you for your ego. It is about understanding that attraction is not logical, it is psychological, and the psychology is clear. People value what they have to work for. They obsess over what they cannot fully have. They think about what is uncertain. When you master this, you are not just getting one woman to think about you. You are becoming the type of man that naturally creates attraction wherever you go because you are not seeking validation. You are not desperate for approval. You are building a life so compelling that people naturally want to be part of it. And that is when everything changes. The philosopher Seneca wrote that it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. And when you waste your energy chasing someone who does not value you, you are wasting the opportunity to become someone worth chasing. But here is my final warning, and this is important. Do not use these techniques to manipulate someone into loving you. Use them to filter out people who are not genuinely interested. Use them to become a more attractive, more confident version of yourself. Use them to stop wasting time on people who do not value you. Because at the end of the day, the goal is not to trick someone into thinking about you. It is to become someone worth thinking about. The philosopher Epictetus taught that we should not be upset by what we do not have, but rejoice in what we do. When you rejoice in your own growth, when you celebrate your own progress, you become someone that others want to be around. Not because you are trying to impress them, but because your presence is a reflection of your own inner work. And that presence is what makes you unforgettable. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. When your thoughts are colored by grounded confidence, by the quiet knowledge that you are enough, your soul reflects that, and others will feel it. They will sense that you are someone who cannot be easily shaken, and that sense of stability is deeply attractive. Think about it. When you are constantly available, you are telling her that you have nothing better to do. You are telling her that your life revolves around her. And while that might feel like devotion, it actually signals low value. A man with options is not always available. A man with a purpose is not always waiting by the phone. The philosopher Zeno of Citium taught that the goal of life is to live in agreement with nature. And it is human nature to be drawn to what is challenging, what is uncertain, what requires effort. When you make yourself too easy, you remove the challenge. And without challenge, there is no attraction. This is why the women you pursue often lose interest. Not because you are not good enough, but because you made it too easy for her to have you. You did not give her the chance to wonder about you. You did not give her the chance to miss you. You did not give her the chance to earn your attention. And attention that is given freely is rarely valued. Now, let me be clear. This is not about being cold. This is not about playing games. This is about understanding the psychology of attraction and using that understanding to become a better version of yourself. When you are genuinely busy building something meaningful, you naturally become less available. And that natural scarcity is what makes you attractive. It is not a tactic. It is a byproduct of a life well lived. The philosopher Seneca wrote that a wise man is content with himself. Be the man who does not need anyone, yet is wanted by everyone because of his presence. When you are content with yourself, you do not need to chase. You do not need to prove anything. You simply are. And that simplicity is what draws people to you. The philosopher Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. When you master your own impulses, when you stop chasing validation, when you become the kind of man who is complete on his own, you are truly free. And that freedom is what makes you irresistible. So here is what I want you to take away from this. Stop being the guy who is always available. Stop being the guy who texts first every time. Stop being the guy who is afraid to disagree. Start being the guy who has a life of his own. Start being the guy who is present when he is with her and fully engaged in his own life when he is not. Start being the guy who creates memories that she cannot forget. Start being the guy who is not afraid to walk away. Because the moment you stop chasing, you become the prize. And when you become the prize, she will not be able to stop thinking about you. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote that we should waste no time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. And that is the best advice I can give you. Do not spend your time worrying about how to make her think about you. Spend your time becoming the kind of man that she cannot help but think about. Not by chasing her, but by becoming someone worth chasing. Not by being desperate, but by being grounded. Not by performing, but by being present. And that is how you become the man she stays up thinking about at 2 in the morning. If this resonated with you, drop a comment with the word obsession so I know you are serious about this journey. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because this is just the beginning of understanding female psychology at a level that most men never reach.